Hey guys, so your morning boost for the day is about the 7 things not to do to have a good life. And I have recognized these things that really, if the way we should go forward in life in our decision making is if you can pass these 7 tests, so to speak, like in your mind, if you're doing one of those, you can probably think, well, okay, this isn't going to lead me to the happiness that I want. Is this really going to be worth going in that direction? And I would say 9 times out of 10, no. And the list is as follows, and we will delve into each one. I will not condemn. I will not judge. I will not accuse. I will not blame. I will not confound. I will not correct. And I will not attack. So I'm sure most of you can probably figure out the reasoning and rationale as to why that you shouldn't do these 7 things, or that your action should be able to pass through all 7. So when condemning, really that's a big one because look, if you're condemning someone, well, it all goes back. Here's the thing. Before I get into this, just the resounding principle is that you give unto yourself, and your world is the basis of how you are within. So if you're doing these things, that's what the world is going to be to you. And that's one of those things that I think puts a sense of gravity as to how we should conduct ourselves. So if you're doing these 7 things, these condemning, judging, accusing, then don't be surprised if that's how your world is. So then the lack thereof of these things will then produce the opposite. If you're not condemning, you're loving. If you're not judging, then you're allowing. Here's the thing. Don't judge. How do you know? More times than not, I'd say 8 times out of 10, we don't understand the situation as it is. And those other times, those are situations where, at the end of the day, also, the person, more times than not, was not trying to be a jerk. Or they weren't trying to intentionally do you wrong. And even if they were, be willing to forgive them, man. That's the thing of it all. Our purpose is to forgive. So it's not to correct, which is, again, down there. Don't correct. Be willing to forgive. Because when you mistake your function, which is your identity, you have a confused state of mind. And so that's why, yes, you're going to deal with correction. You're going to probably have to correct people, especially if you're like a supervisor or something like that. But you do it not out of attack, not out of punishing, but a forgiving mentality. Just kind of like one of those things where, hey, this is what we got to do, but you go forward with a hopeful resolution, with a hopeful outcome, as it were. You don't give up faith on the person. And, I've also realized that don't get caught up in the accusation, blamefulness mentality. Oh, it's this person's the reason I'm X, Y, and Z. Just don't do it. I don't even really have any other reason. Just don't do it. Like, it's one of those things where, and this is, easier said than done, right? But, I feel like when you get away from that, you allow things to be exactly as they are. All too many times when we hold that mentality, we're basically saying, my life is the way because of somebody else. And we're not taking responsibility for why things are the way they are. Sure, you were born into a certain life, or you grew up a certain way. But that doesn't have to mean that's how you are going forward. You can always change who you are. You can always change your mind about a situation. And I think when we don't do these things, these 7 things as it were, I think things tend to go into alignment the way they are. And you have to watch your thoughts. You have to be vigilant because things will pop up. And this is actually can be beneficial actually, because the ego would bring these thoughts up to try to find reason for you to be able to accuse and blame your brother. But in fact, when these thoughts do arise, then you can meet them and say, oh, okay, here's another opportunity for me to choose again to do the opposite. And then that's really cool. You kind of turning the ego's game on its head, which is nice. So it's like, oh, thank you for bringing this to me so that I can allow it to be corrected through forgiveness, through love, through peace. Wishing your brother well and showing that, hey, your blood is not on, my blood is not on your hands. You do not stand condemned. You are not guilty. And it helps you attest your brother's innocence. And so it's a really cool dynamic that really can, I think, help a lot of us out. So again, in summary, don't judge, don't condemn, don't accuse, don't blame, don't confound. Don't be like, well, why are you the way that you are? Just stop getting caught up in like, oh, he has to be that way or this way. Just because you may have a sort of self-concept that doesn't agree with him, that doesn't mean that yours is necessarily more right or wrong. A lot of this stuff is very much so to the individual. What do we know of the good and the bad? Anyways, and don't correct and don't attack. You do these things, you're going to be in a good spot. And when I say don't correct, like I said, there's times where you do technically still have to find, there's still some like correction in the relative. They made a mistake. If you're a teacher, you're not just going to be like, oh, he did 2 + 2 is 5, can't correct him, sorry. No, it's more rather, it aligns with the whole not confounding your brother. If he's got this thought system, don't be like, oh, you're wrong for X, Y, and Z, and what have you. I'm like, that's not going to convince them, man. That's called the backfire effect. And it does the exact opposite of what you want. And so that's what I have for you guys. Let's go forward and, let's not do these 7 things. Okay, have a blessed day, guys. Peace.